Hi, you're listening to Dusk to Dawn, reading horror and weird fiction. We're your hosts, Amber and Dan.
Follow us on Instagram at Dusk to Dawn Podcast. Please rate our show wherever you're listening, and let's get started. Welcome, dear listeners, to our penultimate episode of the season. Thank you for listening this entire way. Amber actually had to cut out penultimate from the last episode, which was Little Heaven, and I said welcome to our penultimate episode, and it was wrong.
You said it.
The miracles of editing.
Thank the gods. Otherwise, this would be a disaster in a nutshell.
We are coming to you on Bloomsday. If you're listening to this on the day it comes out, which I guess is maybe a little presumptuous of me. This is Bloomsday, June 16th, 2026. Okay, here's a trivia.
Even though Ulysses was not published on Bloomsday, do you know what day it was published? I know the date off the top of my head.
I know that
it's the same
the
month
day
that I was born.
Bloomsday is Nora's birth. It was the date of their first date.
Okay, but it was published in the month of my birth.
February. Which year? 30s?
And this was also the month of dear author's birth and potentially the day of his birth.
Who's dear author? James Joyce?
Yes.
Oh, not Neil Sharpson. No, he looks a bit younger in his photograph.
Wow, you look good for being born in 19... No, he was born in like 18... What was it? Oh, actually, I don't know the year he was born.
I think he was 1890X.
1890X. He was born in 1882.
Oh, even earlier than that.
So
Damn.
Ulysses was published on February 2nd, but Bloomsday is June 16th because that is the day that this ginormous book, Ulysses, takes place.
And which year is it?
It is one teens. Day, the entire book.
Which day? June 16th, 1930X.
22. Well, it was published in 22.
But when
it's
does
1904.
The day in the book?
1904.
1904. And that was the first date with Nora Roberts.
Yeah.
Is her name Nora Roberts?
No,
that's like a jazz singer or some shit.
Wait, isn't Nora Roberts' son in a punk band?
That's Danielle Steele.
Oh, okay. Same type of
Nick
romance
Train and Link
author.
80, 17 Reasons.
Yeah, okay. Well, regardless of that, I lost my train of thought. This book, not our book that we're reading. We have to talk about Bloomsday because we just do. We're James Joyce fans. We went to Bloomsday 2 years ago. We had a wonderful time. We should be wearing our straw hats and we're not.
It's too hot, dude.
It's hot
like
today.
90 degrees out. Did you say that Ulysses
Oregon.
was about Leopold Bloom walking around Dublin?
Yes, that's what I was trying to get, but before I decided to go on all these tangents.
Okay.
Bloomsday is the day that the book Ulysses takes place, and it is following Leopold Bloom through the city of Dublin on a day of, in a sense, normalcy or adventure, however you want to view it. But one of the amazing things about this book is that many people have said, I myself did not see Ireland in early 1900s.
You didn't? You weren't there.
I was not.
That's so crazy because you're American. You were born in the 1980s.
Yeah,
so.
I know. So I was born in the century, but unfortunately, I did not see Dublin at the time. But a lot of people have said that by reading Ulysses, if the entire city burned down, they could rebuild it based, or at least parts of it, based off of this book.
Yeah, that's the line
detailed.
that comes along with it. Do you think that's bullshit?
Yeah. It's bullshit.
Like, they probably can make some parts really cool, but I mean, really, the whole city?
Yeah. There are still some places that exist that we were able to go to, which was really fun during Bloomsday, right? Like, Brian's. Oh, God damn it. I feel like I have to look at all this. Hold on.
Well, we went to Galveston Cemetery, which features in Knock Knock Open Wide, and I'm excited to talk about.
Yes.
And other places.
There's Sweeney's Pharmacy. That was really cool.
That was so cool.
We actually got
Where Leopold Bloom picked up some soap and carried it in his trousers for most of the story.
We bought a thing of soap there, and it has slowly over the years started to melt on our shelf. I won't use it, but I'm like, oh no, what do we do? And we actually, do you remember this? They spelled Ulysses wrong in the window. And we had to tell them, You misplaced one of those S's. They were very appreciative. We went to Martello Tower and saw one of the most amazing
That was incredible. It was the first
productions.
chapter of Ulysses with Stephen Dedalus and Bucky Mulligan.
And we were in the tower, in the locations. They had us move from place to place following the story. It was so
It's not Bucky
fucking
because
good.
it's not the Winter Soldier. It's just Buck Mulligan. But the character,
Wow,
he
what is
dove
it, like-
into what's that swimming hole that is famous there?
Yeah.
And is in the opening chapter. Yeah, it's like there's a swimming hole down from the tower that's just so cold.
Yeah, people. It's
and
crazy.
people swim there in the morning.
Yes, it's 40 foot. 40 foot.
Yeah, that was incredible. Just some
And so
great
at the end of
actors.
it, he just jumped into the ocean. It was like, oh,
And it was fun too because it's one of those things that I expected to see a lot of people our age. I don't know. It seems like a millennial thing. Like, I don't know. Actually, how long? When did Bloomsday begin?
I think they've been doing it for, I don't know,
It
very
must have been a
long
while
time.
because my ultimate point is that there were a lot of older people there, which is really cool. And I talked to one guy who had been going every year for, I don't know, 12 years with a friend of his who lived, out of driving distance. So that's how they would meet up and share their love of the book.
First celebrated in 1924.
Oh, damn. That's a long time ago.
Yeah, so it's been around.
I was just like, leave it up to millennials to make like a festival over something people love
I don't necessarily know if it's been
every year.
Yeah, but
But it was really cool. I mean, just meeting people of all ages that were just excited to be there and loved the book.
yeah. So if you are in Dublin, it doesn't have to be now in June time, but if you ever go and you're at all interested, there's the James Joyce Museum, and it is awesome. They do walking tours. They're just very friendly people, and I miss it. There's also the
Bloomsday-
Winding Staircase bookstore is fabulous.
The Bloomsday celebration is a whole week, and there's a bunch of events all over the city.
But here's the thing you don't do, which
What's that?
I got really fucking angry about this. So I bought a copy of Ulysses in Dublin, and you could get a passport for the Bloomsday Festival and go around to all the locations, and they give you a stamp. And I had them stamping my book everywhere we went. And then we went to Paris. And we went to you weren't there.
No,
was there.
I left.
That's right. We went to Shakespeare & Co., which now the Shakespeare & Co. that is there in Paris today is very close to Notre Dame, and it's okay, I'll back up. So the original Shakespeare & Co. was a small little bookshop run by
Not Sylvia Plath.
Sylvia Beach.
Yep.
And she, thank you. I knew it was one of the Sylvias. I couldn't, no, I did remember. I just needed the push. And she loved his work. She decided to help him publish his ginormous tome of a novel, Ulysses. And so she published it on his birthday. And she ended up having to close shop because when the Nazis invaded and took over Paris, she one day had some form of a Nazi officer came up and saw a copy of Finnegan's Wake, first edition, in her window.
Give me the book.
Yeah, exactly. And she said, no. He said, well, I'll be back. And so she's like, fuck this.
And Ernest Hemingway helped her move their books out.
Yeah.
She's like, I got to get the fuck out of this building.
She packed up and she fled to America.
I think he did at least.
She left. I don't know where. Did she go to England? I don't know where she went. But so the bookshop essentially closed. But then I don't know how this happened, but eventually it reopened under a different company. It is not associated with her estate. They pride themselves on having books of Ulysses, but it is not the original Shakespeare & Co. And at first I thought, oh, whatever, it's cute, it's fun. But so getting back to my original point, my tirade here of fuck that store, is I brought my book that I had purchased in Dublin and had stamped all over for Ulysses celebrations. And I said, oh, can you please stamp this? Because this shop stamps Ground Zero or something like
Shakespeare.
that.
This book was published at Shakespeare and Company. Is that what you're saying?
No. It just says Shakespeare and Company, like 0 degrees or whatever, Paris, France. It has they have a little stamp. And they're like, oh, you didn't purchase it here. And I'm like, yeah, but I bought this during Bloomsday in Dublin to celebrate
come on, just stamp
the
the fucking book
that like your shop proclaims to be like associated with. Yeah, but you didn't buy it here. I'm like, well, fuck you. I'm not going to go to Paris and then go to fucking Dublin. So I was like, fuck this place. And also there was literally a line of people. You had to wait in line to get in the shop because it's like a thing now. We didn't go in line there. We just went in. No, there's like a queue outside.
I thought we were in I thought I remember
No, absolutely not. Okay. No, and people just are like in there taking pictures of the shop. And
they just had like
shit.
the company rules, and it's like, damn, dude, you don't know what you don't understand.
I understand that, but it's like it's literally fucking Bloomsday. It's not like I'm asking you to just stamp my book collection. You know, like come on. It was one like I don't know.
That's too bad.
It felt very American. It felt very like, but these are the rules. Like, I'm in fucking Paris, not Berlin. Like, these are the rules.
I'm clearly
we cannot
not
break
French.
the rules.
That's because you're German. They're like, you got a little bit of a German
accent. They had no idea I was a fucking American.
Except
I'm like, come on. So anyway.
That's disappointing.
So don't go to that shop. Fuck that place.
I mean, maybe it's a great shop and it was just
go to the winding
day.
staircase in Dublin. That was a fabulous bookshop.
Yes. Which is where we bought Where I End. Is that right?
I think that's where we bought Knock Knock Open Wide.
Oh, yes.
So, speaking of...
Knock Knock Open Wide, we should get to the book we're talking about today. Guys, this was a wonderful pick. Obviously, we planned that we would read an Irish book for Bloomsday.
We have opinions about, certain days, and this is an important one.
And we've read, let's see, what are our Irish books? And not Irish American, we're talking about like Born and Bred in Ireland. We have Sophie White, Where I End, which is incredible. And
that was our
The
first
Watchers
season.
by A.M.
Shine.
We
read that this season. Mm-hmm. That's it, I think.
Yeah. And then now Knock Knock Open Wide by Neil Sharpson. And I'll just tell you right now, it's Bloomsday, and I'm glad that this is the book we read.
Yes.
It's good.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the author. Hailing from Dublin, Ireland, Neil Sharpson has been writing for theater since his teens. In 2017, he changed his focus to writing novels, adapting his own play, The Caspian Sea, into When Sparrow Falls, which is a sci-fi thriller. And so Knock Knock Open Wide is his second book. So that's cool to hear about.
His second book or his second horror book?
No, his second novel. So he did a sci-fi thriller, and then he did this. So he's just like, I'm going to write what I want, and that's cool. A huge fan of animation, Sharpson writes Unshaved Mouse, a comedic review blog mostly focusing on animated film and comic book movies. I also want to mention for all of you who did your homework and read the book and realized how much theater is in here, and we have the Dramsoc, is that how you'd say it, you think? The Drama Society at UCD.
Oh, yeah, the acronym. Yeah.
Well, the author was part of that and said, Dramsoc was in many ways where I became myself, and while Betty and I have some pretty obvious differences, I'm not a redhead. We both learned to be writers, friends, and lovers in that wonderful little cult. So that was a lot from firsthand experience, and then I'll put one more point on that. There really was a giant papier-mâché vagina in his time there.
Sorry, was this a UCI or UIC?
Is UCD.
UCD.
Yeah? The University of City Dublin.
Yeah. Also, by the way, that's where James Joyce went to university.
That's so cool.
So there's another connection.
Also, they're both Irish. You didn't pick up on that.
No way. And they're both from Dublin.
This is the first time we heard about this author. As we mentioned earlier, we bought this in Ireland. This was another one of those books where we were just like,
them.
Do you guys have horror? Like, give us
horror.
Yeah, something that's horror that's written like at least within.
I don't care when it's
second
written.
half of the 20th
just
century.
Don't give me Bram Stoker. I know Bram Stoker.
Well,
give me
then they'd be like, "There's Carmilla." So I mean,
that's not Irish though.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, we read that too.
Oh my God! Look at us. How disrespectful we are.
Right.
Lefanu?
Lefanu, yeah.
Yeah, we'll just call it Lefanu. I think it's close enough.
His name is so French it hurts. It hurts to say for me because I suck.
So yeah, we just got this book because they're like, here's a couple books that might fit this horror theme you're talking about. And what is the summary? Tell us about this book. Give us a real in-depth understanding
of take a deep breath
what we're reading.
I really gotta. Okay. There's a black goat in a box on the TV. Misbehave and it will come out and eat you. Or will it?
Oh, I'm invested.
I love your summary. That basically tells you a very, very small fraction of this book and doesn't touch on anything, but it's great because it gives us more room to tell you.
Just talk about it.
This story pulls a lot from Irish mythology in the overall story of what's going on in the background. There are a number of characters, but our main characters are Etan and then her daughter Aisling. And there are definitely other main characters, but it's a little, and I guess her mother could also count. But
yeah, there's definitely the family line of Aisling with Etain, and Etain's the daughter of Myriad.
Yes. It's almost like a maternal instinct to reject your daughter. So Etan and Aisling are our main characters, and they both have sisters. In both cases, their parent liked one and not the other, in a sense. Etan and Aisling are basically rejected by their mother. And it's very interesting to see that with Etan.
I didn't pick up on that detail.
Yes.
That's early in the book.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. That's cool.
She was shunned. And I remember that stuck with me because
Why
it's
was
like,
she
how
shunned?
could you do that?
Do you remember why Etan was?
The same
because
reason.
Because of the Scarna incident?
Yes.
Okay.
So it surprised me that Etan would treat her daughter the way that she was treated by her mother.
But that's how you're taught to treat somebody, right?
Well, yeah,
that's the
but
trick.
It's also just like, damn. Like, don't you see what you're doing and how painful that is?
Also, Etan went through some shit.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah. A lot of mother trauma here on multiple generations.
Yes. And therefore also mother-daughter trauma.
Yeah.
But so Aisling has a twin sister, Neve. And Neve is blonde and beloved. And Aisling has dark
hair,
curly hair, and she is rejected by her mother. And we get a lot of the story at first through Betty's eyes, and Betty shows up at UCD, and she's going and looking at all the clubs and stuff. And Aisling walks up to her and teases her and convinces her to join the drama club.
And she's just like, I'm supposed to talk to you because the person I'm sharing a table with is like really insistent and wants to get promoted. So let's just talk about drama society. But right away, Betty's like, damn.
Betty just falls in love instantly. Like, wow, I'm in love with you.
Aisling has like a buzz cut and a nose ring and stuff. And she's just like, damn.
Yeah. So Betty just falls head over heels. And it's like, yes, I'll join this club, whatever you want, that kind of thing. It's cool because we get a lot of Betty's backstory at first. She was picked on as a kid, teased. They called her Lesbo because someone was like, do you want to go behind the shed and kiss? And they do. And then they're like, oh my God, you are a Lesbo. They like tricked her into doing that. And she just never quite fit in. And you get these little tidbits of her backstory, which is nice character building. But what's beautiful about her story is that it comes back at the end of the book and just chef's kiss, the way that it goes full circle in a sense. And I'll get to that when we get more into the story. But
yeah, it's interesting. I'm just thinking, it feels a little bit like the book Ulysses in the sense, which feels like the book The Odyssey.
How fitting.
So what I'm ultimately thinking of the Odyssey, but it's reflected in Ulysses of how it starts with Telemachus, right? You're like, the Odyssey, Odysseus, and the first 2 or 3 books of it, I don't remember, but the beginning part is Telemachus, Odysseus' son.
Yeah, you don't even know if Odysseus is alive, right? At the beginning of the book. Mm-hmm.
And this feels like it really builds up Betty very strongly in the beginning. And I don't want to say, but it's actually Aisling's story because it's both of their stories. But
very much so,
but Aisling ultimately would be the protagonist if you had to choose one.
Yeah, if you had to choose, I would say she'd be the main one. But Betty and Etan are definitely close second.
But all this stuff with Betty in the beginning just makes Aisling's story so much richer.
What I really like too is you really get Betty's initial impression of Aisling before we get to know Aisling. So Aisling has a lot of issues. And she's got a lot of things going against her. Her dad commits suicide. Her mom doesn't speak to her. Her sister is missing.
They don't know about his dad. All they know is that the dad is missing and hasn't been seen.
Oh, I thought it was clear.
Went missing with the sister. The suicide was Jerry Land.
I thought it was clear that he had...
I think... Was it? Was that the story?
Because he's in the hotel.
That was the story.
With the note, and she takes the note.
I don't know what I'm talking about. You're right. That's
Patricia
like the first.
Takes the note. Yeah. Yes. And hides it.
But also, clearly it was like suicide, but also
questionable. But it was like, well, it probably is, right?
It's a book, and there's some mystery.
And to be clear, it's not. It's not a suicide. But you don't know that because at first we get it all from Betty's perspective. And so Betty's like, wow, I really like you, you know? And so you get that initial appreciation of her as a person, and then you get a little bit more and more, and then you start seeing from Aisling's perspective, and she's hard on herself, and she's like, oh, Betty can't actually think that about me, you know, and then you get more and more of her story, and you're like, oh, well, yeah, you are kind of a fucking mess, but you have good reason, right? And so I just really like how he introduced our quote-unquote main character through our quote-unquote secondary character. In a sense, it felt like we were getting to know Aisling through Betty's eyes. And I'm just going to cut to the end because this is my absolute favorite part about this book. I think this is what made this book, in my mind, masterful, was that so we're building up Aisling as like a outside character. We're learning Aisling through Betty's eyes. And then by the end of the book, there's a lot of mythology involved and stuff. But then we're reintroduced to it through Aisling's eyes, through Betty's eyes. So Aisling acquires Betty's memories and therefore relives all these moments that we as readers had already experienced through Betty's eyes. So when we experienced them through Betty's eyes, they were new and Aisling was new. But now at the end, we know Aisling very well. And we're seeing her do the same thing we just did through the beginning of the book. But we are the knowledgeable ones now. In a sense, we become Betty because we know how Betty feels. We know what Betty went through. And we're watching Aisling go through that now. Oh, it's just so cool.
But what's cool is that at that same point, though, the way for her to get back out of the black box is to remember herself, right? Because she's like having all of Betty's memories, but it's like, don't become Betty or you're going to be gone. You got to like remember who you are.
Yeah. And that's a very important part. But I just mean in the writing and the character building sense, like having those layers of discovery of different characters and how they feel about each other. I just really appreciated that. And it just hit me at one point. I'm like, hey, I already know what's going to happen, but you, Aisling, do not. Oh, I just love it.
So the author, Neil Sharpson, described what he was doing in terms of like everything that was going on underneath the surface and with the TV show and the black box and all that as Irish mythology plus H.P. Lovecraft plus Stephen King, which if you read it, you're like, yeah, that's there. But what's really interesting is the authors...
Which like carry a bit, yeah?
Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking?
Well, he just said Stephen King.
Okay.
And I think maybe in that sense, like strong relationship. I don't know. Stephen King is a...
I feel a little bit... I can get Carrie vibes with the
a little
ostracized girl.
And then the Lovecraft would be like the box and the goat, which... plays into Irish mythology, but you know it's like the black empty Cosmos that just like just wants to feed.
Goats are fucking creepy, dude. Have you seen The Witch?
That movie's great.
Fucking
Have
goats.
you seen Black Sheep?
Oh my god, that's a fucking sheep, but yes, that's a fabulous B movie. So we've got Cosmic with Lovecraft. We've got Stephen King. What was the third one you said?
Irish mythology plus H.P. Lovecraft plus
obviously Irish mythology. Okay.
So like the goat is an aspect. The TV show is called, the children's TV show in the book is called Paquin. And in one of
I don't know why this is for children. It just, the whole description.
Like remember Teletubbies? Like that was for kids and like what the fuck is happening?
Teletubbies was creepy on a different level. It wasn't
Totally
like
different.
an ominous box in the middle of the room. Like, if you're bad, the Teletubbies are going to come out and eat you. Like,
So the show is Pakeen, and there is a puka, which is a shape-shifting supernatural entity in Irish mythology. But it had the like a dash of H.P. Lovecraft cosmic horror in terms of...
That doesn't make it less creepy.
You know what my favorite thing about this is? So the part of the TV show, which is interesting because it's like on the back of the book, they're like, there's a TV show with a goat in a box that people can't remember. And it is like a big part of the story, but it's just kind of like the lining of cosmic, like it's a cosmic frame, right? It didn't feel super... I don't know. When I read the book and I heard it was about a children's TV show, I guess I thought that would be more of it.
Did you think it was going to be more like Nope?
Yeah, maybe that was it. Like more about, the production of this show and all that. And I don't have an opinion about whether that would have been better or not. I think it turned out great. But anyway, my favorite part about all the Pukeen thing, Pukeen, I don't know.
I read it as Pukeen.
We're going to mispronounce some things because we're...
It's a creepy kid show. You can probably pronounce it either way.
But what's cool about it is part of the description, at least on the back of the book, which I didn't really notice in the book, was that people don't really remember it the same. And Amber and I had a conversation where she's like, by the way, when I thought of the black box, I thought it was like a little box.
I thought it was like a shoebox.
With a puppet in it. And I was like, what the hell? And later they said puppet. But I was like, no, I thought of a... bigger
like a coffin
box.
Size, like a box that can fit a goat.
Yeah, with a goat, which is so cool because...
like a real goat.
Yeah, but we were doing the thing that the book was set up to do, right? Like having different memories of it. Like, what is this thing? So that's just like a
that's
cool
why
thing.
I asked you, because I'm like, how, like, this box is like the center of this TV show in the middle of the room. And I'm like, this tiny little shoe box. I'm like, I don't know if that's right. And apparently I wasn't.
I think the point is that it was a little ambiguous.
Yeah, and it's great. And I love that we had almost completely opposite interpretations of that.
And this was cool. For anyone who didn't read the book or needs a reminder, it was a TV show that was on since, I don't know, the 80s or something. That had been on
the 70s.
Yeah, I think earlier. That had been on for a long time. And it had two like clown figures and then a black box with a goat. And they would always say, oh, if you misbehave, the goat's going to come out. But the goat never came out. And there's a red door. So, classic cosmic horror, creepy Hollywood television kind of shit.
I also thought of the Black Lodge. I have to be honest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they would all keep the same
That's
dialogue.
in Twin Peaks, I should clarify. Mm-hmm.
Like the show never evolved. And in fact, like later in the book, when Aisling ends up working on production on the show, she talks about how she gets her eyes on like old scripts and they're literally saying line for line just with different actors.
Can we talk about that?
We are talking
I mean specifically the show and that format, right? Like I think I figured out that Aisling gets in the production role on the show and they're all excited about it. And she's like, this has been my dream my whole life, because she's looking for her sister who she thinks went into the box. So she's just trying to get information. Regardless of that, so she is like, we should change things up. We have this actress who's a fucking nightmare, right, to work with. No one, like, we spent half production time arguing with her.
This is the female clown.
Yes, and then we learned later that, well, at least I think I figured out that there was an agreement between this mythological entity and the crew that if you're on the production team, you're safe from harm from this thing. So, okay, fine. You can keep the people, but I didn't quite gather why the show stayed the exact same. Did you? Do you understand why they never changed anything up? Format-wise?
My guess, I think it wasn't really explained, and I think that was really part of it, because part of what makes cosmic horror cool is when it's a little inconsistent. Not inconsistent, but like
unclear. Leaves it.
It's a little unclear.
Yeah, that's fair.
But my guess is that it was the same kind of situation where, like, I think just the dictator of this show was like, this is what it is. You need to include these elements, and it will be unchanged because we're
As like a
cosmic core
soothing-
entities, and this is the way
We know this works, kind
like
of thing.
maybe it's almost like a prayer service, right? Like
Yeah.
this is how our creepy kid show prayer goes.
I wonder too if the forgetfulness aspect comes into play, because it seems like people who watch it have absolutely no problem with the format being the exact same, but Aisling gets that because she's looking at the notes of the show and she's like, the dialogue hasn't changed at all, it's just literally repeating the same thing.
And maybe there's subliminal messages in it. We never really get, I don't know if we get any dialogue from the show, but it could be like these lines are to be repeated because they're, mesmerizing the children or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. I was just curious if perhaps you had a insight on that, because that was one thing that went over my head, which didn't ruin the story for me by any means, but it was something I was like, I don't get.
I think it just adds to the eeriness. It's like, it's a show that's been successful for decades, but
nothing
the script never changes.
Well, the funny thing about that, though, is like anytime you get something new in an established thing, right? Like my brain instantly goes to Star Trek or Star Wars for that matter. You get something new and most of the time people are up in arms because it's different, right? And it's like, yeah, but I like it for what it is. If you change it, then that's not Star Trek anymore, even though you also want to change it up, bring in new viewers and stuff. So her point is more of the like, hey, let's try something new. And, they're like, yeah, but this works.
And to save you from being accused of just going on a Star Trek tangent.
They talk about Star
Betty,
Trek. Yeah, Betty likes Star Trek.
When she meets Aisling at the fair and talks about Drama Society, she's like, oh, I'm trying to write a story, but I mostly just do Star Trek fan fiction.
All good books connect back to Star Trek. It's fine.
And that's truly what we love about this book. 11 out of 10.
All good books that were all good books that were created after Star Trek was created, I have to say. Because, if it was like the timeline.
That's all. Just stop there.
The timeline affects that. Do you know what hungry grass is?
Oh, from the book? Yes. Hungry grass is where a famine victim fell and died. Or was it just people who died violently, and so people in the famine succumbed to
in
that?
the book, in folklore, it's a patch of grass where someone died during the famine. And if you step on it, you feel what they felt, right? Before they... Yeah, that was a quote. Fascinating concept. Because it's like, when you get the chills and it's like, ooh, you just walked over someone's grave.
Yeah, very cool.
Hungry grass. What a term. And speaking of that, the prose in this book is stupid good. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it made me proud to be Irish.
I have so many highlights of just, wow, that sounded cool. And, ooh, I liked this sentence. I mean, we could spend an hour and a half just quoting the book, which you could also just read it. But Hungry Grass, that was something that just fascinated me.
Yeah, and I don't know.
The prose. Let's talk about the prose.
Oh, okay. I got a cool quote. It's random. We have Father Fit, who is our resident priest of the book.
He's so creepy.
And he's like, I looked it up. He is there's like an archetype for him. Oh, he's a punch clock villain.
What's that? Yeah.
So he's not doing it because he has any evil ideology or he's like worshiping the cosmic entities or any of this. He's just like, that's his job. And so that is what he's doing. So
yeah, and at the end, I think he even says, like, I'm not your enemy, right? And he does kind of help.
He's like neutral,
Aisling a little
chaotic,
bit.
maybe.
Yeah.
And I mean, Catholicism and relationships with priests in Irish history is so deep. So it's probably best to just be like, they were neutral, not necessarily good or bad, which is probably the most honest assessment of a lot of our histories. Anyway, okay, so the father that gets called along with two other priests who are sitting in the back of the car to Scarna. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but this is the farm that in the beginning of the book gets burned down after Lowney, the farmer who
has the ring and
all the stuff in the hook.
Fucks with Etan, yeah.
But Father Fit gets called with some priests to go to that place because we later find there's like turf wars going on. But let's just get right to the quote because we're talking about prose right now. This is just so cool. So this is the priests in the back of the car who are like not quite human. The faces were as if the most awful, hateful old men in the world, poisoned close to death with spite, had had their visages taken and then smudged by a giant thumb. There were no necks, simply impossibly long strands of black tar that tethered the bodies to heads that seemed to float weightlessly in the air. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it's amazing.
This was when, do you remember, he's in the car and the guard, just guard,
yeah.
Stops them and he's like, I hope you don't look in the back of the car at my weird ass friends.
Oh, right. And then he's like, oops, I should have kept my mouth shut, because then the guard looks back there and then he's like puking his guts out. It's like, well, you should go take care of that. Bye.
It kind of reminded me of what's the Chuck Tingle book we read, Lucky Day? Mm-hmm. How wasn't there a character in the motor in the RV who had like a black hole face?
Yeah, they're the bridge. Yeah, and you could like see all kinds of weird shit. Like, oh, that's weird.
I know you got quotes up the wazoo. So
I just love the way that he described moments, little things like, what do you think of that? Said Aisling with the air of someone about to get into an argument with a flat earther. Like, instead of just saying like defensively or with like a mad tone, right? Like, he draws his details out, and some people might not like that. It might feel overly fluffy or maybe a little purple.
It doesn't read that way at all. It
doesn't read that way at all. But like here, right, said Brian, like a bank robber announcing the start of a job as he snapped his seatbelt. It just adds like a
little jolt of action or something.
Yeah, or just, he uses a lot of association. He assumes that you know what these things are like based on just your ability to be a human or watching movies, and it gives it such an interesting air of, instead of giving you the adjective, letting you decide how to feel about it, right? He's like talking around the adjective, but not in an obnoxious like, oh my God, get to the point way, but in a fun way that adds to your emotional state. Like, you get to choose, well, what would it feel like to be a bank robber announcing the start of a job? Are you excited? Are you nervous? Are you both? Like, that leaves it up to...
Oh, so you're saying like gives the reader some agency?
It gives it gives agency. It gives you room to decide how that feels. Like, if I'm talking to if I'm about to talk to a flat earther, like, you're probably going to be defensive, but are you going into it like, you fucking idiot? Or are you going into it like, oh my God, like, we need to fix your stupidness? Like, you know what I mean? Every person has their own way of dealing with different emotions and different situations. And by giving these roundabout descriptions, he's definitely giving you the agency to decide. You also know the characters, so that helps. But I really liked that. Sometimes I could see where that would become frustrating, potentially, if that's not your style, but I really enjoyed it. I thought that was a fun little bit of it. I also have some funny quotes.
Yeah, just like knocks them off.
Are you a vegetarian, Aisling? He asked. No, she said. Good woman. I don't trust vegetarians. I don't trust anyone who doesn't understand that the best things in life demand sacrifice.
That's a great line.
That made me chuckle.
That's one line about meat that you'll approve of.
And then very shortly thereafter, he shook his head vigorously as if she just suggested he try cannibalism. It's just so good. I love his prose. There was another one I had here. Oh, I think it was.
Here's a good one between Jerry Land and Aisling toward the end of the book. What do you think happens when we die? He asked her. She did not need to think. Nothing, she said. Blackness, silence. He gave a deep, shuddering sigh. Sweet, merciful Jesus, he whispered. We should be so lucky. And that's more just like cool storytelling.
Yeah. We also got speaking of Stephen King, there is a Stephen King reference.
Oh, that's right.
Because at one point, Aisling is locked in the bathroom and Etienne is out in the back garden, and she cuts her finger off and throws it into the bushes. And at the time, we have no idea why. And Etienne's sister Kate shows up and goes in the backyard and is like, what the actual fuck is going on? The TV's destroyed. You're in the backyard. You cut off your finger. Where is your daughter? And it turns out that Aisling is locked in the bathroom. So Kate goes and grabs an axe and then goes up to the bathroom door. She resists the urge to yell, "Here's Johnny." So there you go. You had mentioned Stephen King. So, and also we read
And wait,
that book.
hold on. What happened there? So we know Etane's in the backyard.
Yeah.
And she cut off her finger Etane to throw the ring off. And then Aisling is locked in the bathroom and Kate's like
beating the door
down with an axe. And this, of course, when you first read the scene, you're like, holy
Aisling
shit.
doesn't even know her, right? Because after Kate and Etane's mom died, she booked it to London. So Aisling is like, who the fuck is this person?
Yeah. And what's so great about that scene is it's, like dramatic. Like the mother locks her daughter in the bathroom, throws the key away, is cutting her finger off. What the hell? And then we find out that she locked Aisling in the bathroom and cut her finger off because Jerry Land wanted her to kill Aisling.
Yeah.
So she's like, I need to lock her away and cut the ring that they all wore was
on her finger,
kind of like their
and
cult
I thought
thing.
Yeah, and I thought it was kind of like a protection thing from Puckeen, right? It was like, if you wear this, he can't come after you though, but they wanted them.
I feel like it's like it shows that you're part of the cosmic tribe, which gives you some safety, but also
there was some kind of magical-ish thing, because then later
Father Fit really wanted
Father Fit comes and is like, where's the ring? And she's like, somewhere in the bushes.
I just realized Father Fit he's not like neutral chaotic. He did kill Barry Mullen.
Yeah.
But that was also because that was his job. That was his assignment. He's just like Hitman. He's like
a mercenary.
Yeah.
They're neutral as long as you pay him.
What about Patricia Skelton?
I liked her.
So she's the reporter.
She was spunky.
Who covers the burning of the barn at Skarnaw, and then also the disappearance of Neve, Aisling's sister. And so she's had a professional stake in all these going-ons.
Yeah, she's one of those reporters that everyone sees her and is like, oh,
She takes her job real serious.
She's a bitch because she's a woman who pushes, But yeah, she gets the fucking job done, and she meets Barry right after Etane goes missing.
How cool is it
and
when she was following him in the car and she still didn't know if he was the killer or not?
Yeah, it's crazy. So Etane meets up with Barry at one point at Kate's house, Kate's house sitting, has a party, and Barry proposes to Etane. She says yes. They make love. Etane has to get back to Dublin because they're down in Cork. She has to get back to Dublin to go to work, and she disappears on her way home. That's the whole Skarnaw thing.
Yeah.
And Barry is, of course, instantly blamed for, he's the prime subject, not blamed for it. But
suspect, not the subject.
He's the subject. He's a prime suspect in her disappearance. And Patricia meets him and just instantly is like, no, it's not you. And she stands up for him and she puts her career up on the line. It's pretty cool. I like that because she has absolutely no reason to give a shit about this person. And it just hits her as like the right thing to do. So she's a cunt, but she's a cunt with a heart.
I wouldn't say that at all.
Well, in her job, right?
But she doesn't come across as being like,
she's a hard
get
ass.
My way.
Okay.
I think she just...
There's like the European version of a cunt and there's the American.
Yeah.
I was more the European version of a cunt, not the American version.
Very true. It's like means... Yeah.
It's a very different thing.
I was like, damn, she's not a cunt, but like, cunt.
Yeah. A fucking cunt.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. Because Barry's family, when she first comes in to interview, is like, I know his brother is like got his arms crossed. He's like, hell, you want reporter from Dublin?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. Okay. Here's a question for you. Or do you want to go back to quotes? You're all quoted up.
No.
So this book includes quite a big use of the R word, which is romance. So, how did you feel about it? Because I know this is a touchy subject for you.
There's like a legitimate, ooh, that's the R word. That's a bad trigger. And then there's romance.
I know. That's so funny. The way I set it up. It could be anything.
Yeah. Okay. How did I feel about it? It didn't get in the way.
Yeah.
I thought
It didn't
was
feel
good
like
character building.
Mayfly, which I really liked, and the
Mayfly
romance was
used
good.
it as like as a way
Yeah,
to make things
absolutely.
more horrific.
But it felt like, okay, this is a romance.
It was like intense.
Thing.
Like I felt like in Mayfly, it was like, whoa, you're using this to push it to a point of like craziness.
Yeah. This felt more like a deep connected relationship.
I thought it added to it. It didn't bother me. I wasn't like, oh, come on, let's move on. I thought it worked really well because I cared enough about the characters, and he gave us we could see the miscommunication, the talking across each other happening, right? It just worked really well with the story, and it wasn't the main focus. I felt the main focus was
it was getting access to
Neve.
Ashling's family, like her relationship with her
it was
mother.
about this history of this family, what the hell happened and what's going on at this TV studio. And Ashling's relationship with Betty gave her the platform to make sure that she like survived this ordeal, if that makes sense, instead of there's some relationships in it, but
I bet there's
Jesus
readers out there who would
Christ,
say
this
was a romance. Not every romance is done poorly.
Okay,
This was just a
no,
romance
this is
that
not a
was
fucking romance.
well written.
It's
Dude,
not a
they
romance.
fall in love. They like
there can be
hook up a bunch
relationships
of
in a book
times.
without it being a romance. Romance has very specific tropes.
Well,
This is a fucking
if you
horror
say
book.
romance is only this one thing that's
Oh my
commercially
God.
presented.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm sticking up for the romance people. I see you guys.
But it's not a romance.
Yeah.
Romance people are not going to read this and be like,
They
wow,
meet,
what
they
a beautiful
fall in
story.
love,
They'd be
they
like, what the
misunderstand
fuck
each
is
other,
this? No.
and then they fall in love harder, and then the end of the
Jesus
book
Christ.
ends in May 2015 when Ireland passed the 34th Amendment federalizing gay marriage. That's the end of the book. Is that so? People who meet in college
God
fall
damn
in
it.
love, have a
Stop
like
it.
breakup,
Stop
get back
turning it
together,
into a romance.
and then get married.
Don't
is
make
not
me
a
hate the book.
romance.
Okay, well, now I hate the book. Great. Good job. You've succeeded in ruining the book for me. Thank you. I appreciate your...
You know, it's crazy. So Ireland was the first country to federalize legal gay marriage. And then, so I looked up when the U.S. was, and it was like the month after. But I'm really glad that it was Ireland. That made me happy.
Yeah,
I mean, it should be everywhere, but
yeah,
you know
they
what I'm
need
saying.
that. They need that boost. Now
Okay.
they could just get an abortion under
Look
their
at me
belt.
standing up for romance people. I have no stake in this, except
don't-
maybe I do now.
No. Okay, I'm going to make you read a romance.
Okay, so here's
We're
the
gonna read
thing.
a real romance
what?
horror, and you're going to be like, what the fuck?
You know what romance
Start
never
reading some
has?
Gothic
There's
literature.
a scene in this book, Knock Knock Open Wide, where Betty, who wrote the play that takes off, has the big opening night, and Aisling goes to see it, but they're tense and they broke up, and she misses it, and then so all the drama people are celebrating at a club, and then Aisling goes into the club, and Betty doesn't know she's there, but
Oh.
when they see each other,
Fucking you too.
U2 plays over the speakers and they dance in a choreographed scene. That's not romance.
That's theater.
well,
That's
dude, theater and romance are the same thing. It's all
No,
about
they are-
sensational emotions.
But they're different genres. And he has a theater background, and that
But not a romance.
Red-
He's never been in love.
that
He has a
red-
wife. It says in his bio he has dogs or kids or something too, so he knows love.
or something. Yeah. To you, no romance. You have a wife and a child. We've had cats.
Oh, yeah.
They're dead, but we
mean-
had them.
I don't know. Okay, move on past the romantic or not romantic aspects of this book.
I didn't say there weren't aspects, but it's not a romance. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
That's not the main focus. I don't know. I feel like we could go on and on.
We could.
Is there any like point specifically in the book that you really were drawn to, or did you or didn't like? You know,
I just think all the elements were woven together so well because we have, I mean, the main part of the story is what Aisling learning to accept herself and find out that she's not a changeling. So
yeah,
but it's really about Aisling like understanding her worthiness to be loved, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not romantic or anything, but emotional.
fuck off.
But just all the elements were woven in so well, even though, like, I wouldn't say this was cosmic horror. Like, it didn't feel like a cosmic horror book, even though there's cosmic horror elements. It didn't necessarily feel like it was trying to be a socially aware contemporary book, but it had those elements in terms of real modern fears around discrimination, around being gay, and how that played out in different decades within their Irish experience and all that stuff. But what I'm trying to get at is, like, it had all these different elements that just wove so well together through the primary story of Aisling, like, discovering who she really is and, like, learning how to love herself and all that kind of stuff, in a way where other books we've read, where those elements, like the cosmic element or the socially aware element, are also light. Everything felt critical. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I felt like he was really good at weaving a lot of different aspects, and he could have something have a light touch. Like, I would argue that Puckeen, the TV show with the goat, is a pretty light touch in terms of, like, words on the page, but it's so critical to the story. He just weaves a lot of disparate elements together really well.
I have a question for you. This one is more of a understanding the plot. So Etan hates Aisling, right?
I think she's the child of a cosmic demon slash entity,
because Etan makes love with Barry when they get engaged, and then on her way home she ends up on the side of the road and is abducted, and she is raped, I guess, by the.
Not I guess, she is. Along with the farmer's wife.
Yeah, I meant, I guess I wasn't sure who, by, like, the entity I was going to say.
Yeah, the corpse thing.
The
Lowney?
corpse thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I wasn't guessing she was raped. I was guessing at what the hell the thing was that did it. Yeah, the assumption is one child is from one and one is from the other. But what I didn't understand about that was, so at the end, Aisling goes into the box, fucks up Puckeen, and then comes out and goes home, and Etan is like, my daughter, I love you, you're back. And it's like, well, wait, she wasn't a changeling. Why now all of a sudden is she accepted? Neve's dead. We know Neve is dead now. Like, Neve is not coming back. Why now is it okay?
Well, here's okay.
And how does Etan know that?
So my answer to that is I did not pick this aspect up, but when I was reading about the ending, because a lot was happening pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Supposedly, when Aisling comes out, she comes out as a changeling. Like, she thought she was the changeling, sort of, like the child, the unwanted child born out of a bastard birth or whatever you want to call it. And then she finds out that no, it was actually her sister. But then when she escapes from the box, she is a changeling. So if that's true, then maybe Etain sees that she's different and is like, oh, my daughter's back. But it's actually just a changeling version of her. I don't know if that's true or not. I didn't get to that level of twist.
That's not because one of them comes out at the end and he's like in Aisling's body, right? And he's like has to figure out how to survive in her flesh.
Yeah, that's Lowney. He wants to.
Lowney, yeah, he comes out. He's trying to get the ring, and he's in Aisling's body, and then she's birthed out of him. That's such a fucking cool scene.
Which is cool because we just read Little Heaven, which also had a baby bursting
it's just
out.
Like, wait, what?
What is this with people bursting out? That that goes back to? Maybe is Athena bursting out of the Zeus's head, the Odyssey / Ulysses. Back to Bloomsday. It all comes back to Bloomsday.
Of course it does.
I don't know if it goes back to that,
but so sorry. So anyway, so Aisling like sees Loudry being her, and then coming to her home, and Betty's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? You're acting weird." And then she births her because he gets the ring, and attacks Etan, and then he puts the ring on, and then she births herself out of him, and he's like trying to get the ring off, and he basically explodes, and then she's back, And then Etan's like, oh, my daughter. And I'm like, but your daughter just literally exploded as far as she knew. But I guess it wouldn't have been her daughter who attacked her. But how did she know all that? I was impressed with her knowledge for being so absent and like just sitting in a room throwing newspapers in the hallway, wanting gin and being grumpy. Like, damn, girl.
Wait, is this you or Tane?
Fuck off.
Give me my gin.
But yeah, then the priest comes in the end and he talks to Aisling. So this is probably where that theory comes from about her being the changeling, is because she's wearing the ring, and the priest comes and says, hey, well, this ring's going to protect you. Eventually it will fade, and then you'll probably, I think then you'll die, or is what he insinuates. So does that maybe then where the idea of her being a changeling comes from?
I don't know. I just read it online.
Because the rings were a little confusing to me. I got the cult thing, but it seemed like there was magical elements. Like there were the 3 different types of rings. There was the one for the writers and the artists and stuff. But there was definitely
like the writers
stuff
and
that I
artists,
missed.
and then the priests, and then there's something about the houses there. Yeah, some of that stuff, like
the folklore stuff, was a little over my head, which is fine. It didn't ruin the story.
I feel
but it definitely left a layer of mystery.
Yeah, I did have some questions, but it was interesting because there was another scene. I forgot who he's talking to. Maybe it's Jerry Land. But toward the end, there's a scene where I'm pretty sure it's Jerry Land is like telling what's going on and like how this is Morrigan and how it's like fairy plus cosmic horror. I wasn't sure how I felt about that in terms of like, it was very much, here are the bad guys and here are their motivations. But then at the same time, some aspects like
I fucking needed that.
Yeah. But then there's also aspects like the rings in the houses that were like so light that you couldn't really see them all the way. So there were times where I felt like some of these supernatural elements were both overexplained and underexplained. Not actually, that's not true. There was one scene where I felt like it was overexplained and they had the like, here are the villains and their reason.
Yeah. So speaking of elements that are handed to you, it makes you then go and look these things up. He's not hand-holding you through Irish mythology, which is not his job. If you're interested in this stuff, he even gives some books in the acknowledgments or his author note somewhere around there about good sources to learn about Irish mythology, which makes me think of a panel that we just were at, because we were just at StokerCon. And oh wait, I don't think you went to that panel with me. I went to the Asian Gothic horror. You didn't go to that one.
No, I was.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe doing the pitch panel.
There was a conversation about how much of a responsibility does an author have in educating readers on a certain topic, right? So a lot of these authors that were on the panel were part Asian. One of them was part Irish and part Canadian, they're all mixed heritage, and they're also not historians, they're horror authors. It was a really interesting conversation about what responsibility do you have over what you put in a book. And the general author response was, well, of course there's a little bit. You don't want to misrepresent aspects of cultures that Western readers might not be knowledgeable about, right? Because they're specifically speaking about Asian cultures. But it's also, the hope is that you then will be interested enough to go out and do the research to learn about these different topics. And I feel like this book fits into that idea pretty well.
Yeah, Sharpson says in the afterword or whatever, he does mention how it's like I said earlier, how his mother was part of the folklore department at UCD, and he went out there and like talked to people who work in collecting folklore, and that's how they got all these elements of the books, is through that direct conversation and research. But at the same time, he's like, it's this plus cosmic horror, so it's fiction, right? But he wanted it to, I think he specifically said, he's like, I tried to stick to the Irish myth, at least in terms of like Morrigan in here and the fairies and changelings, as much as possible, except where the story needed it to be cosmic, right? It's like what the story is. Mm-hmm. And that's what's fun about fiction. You mean, some authors will use those myths as if like the myth is real and now here's a story with it, where this was more like I did my research into what these myths are, and it's not even so much about telling them exactly as they happened, but keeping the concepts within them, right? Because the concept of the changeling is so interesting to think of, seeing somebody you know and love, but they're different, or
they're not them.
Or to be uncertain. I feel like the story of the changeling isn't even so much about the changeling as much about the people around them who are like affected by this different entity. So
that idea of never knowing whether or not if someone's acting strange, is it them, or are they just in a mood? Or, like, I'm a moody person. So I could see where a lot of people would constantly think like, oh, I think Amber's a changeling because she never is in the same mood twice. But and it's also not the author's responsibility to teach us Irish folklore, because this is a horror book. This is not a Irish folklore history or a primary source Irish folklore story. So it's fun. I thought that was a very nice thing, right? Because films do that all the time. They take a concept and they play with it. And sometimes things hit and sometimes they miss. And I think this one was a hit for me.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. Of the four, because we're counting Carmilla, but of the contemporary Irish horror books we read, this to me felt in some ways the most international. I felt like The Watchers and Where I End were very, I mean, they work internationally too, but I don't know. They felt very kind of like a quiet brewing Irish thunderstorm.
Yeah, Where I End is like literally on an island.
Yeah, where this
in the rain.
This felt like it had some of like the pacing and plot elements that would appeal to a more international reader while still being so Irish.
You mean there's Star Trek in it? That's really
Star
what
Trek
you mean.
in it, yeah. I mean more the pacing.
Yeah.
Felt very, I don't know, like a contemporary horror.
But his prose is also very Irish, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. A lot of Egypts.
Egypts. Fucking Egypts.
Speaking of, Amber did mention a panel at StokerCon. We came back, I don't know, was that, how long ago was that? Oh my God, only 1 weekend ago?
Yeah, not this last weekend, but the one before.
That was a lot of fun. We flew to Pittsburgh. We were there for 3 days. Yeah. Went to a bunch of horror panels and met a bunch of people who you can just talk to about your horror interests right away without wondering if they're going to...
No preamble.
Yeah. Oh, so you like creepy cosmic worms too? Cool. Me too.
Yeah, right. Oh, so much fun.
Yeah, it was
exhausting.
Yeah, it was. We just did we don't really do conventions that often, and this was our first writing convention. So I just wanted to soak up as much information as possible. So it was like panel.
Yeah, it was pretty much panels from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then it was like, go eat mac and cheese out of the microwave because we're cheap and we're on a budget, and then go to the bar and spend all of the budget that we didn't have
on like two drinks.
Yeah, and then stay up till midnight watching films, or
it was so fun
going to the award show and stuff. It was great, but oh my God, it was like East Coast time.
Yeah.
So we were getting up at like 4 a.m. and staying up till like midnight. Oh my God, it was crazy.
I'm excited. It definitely got me thinking differently about our third season, just because, I mean, before going there...
We got to read some Bizarro.
Yeah, got to read some more Bizarro, but I had been telling Amber about authors I've discovered that I like. I'm like, oh, we read The Fisherman by John Langan, which was great, and he was there. I've mentioned Laird Barron before. The Bizarro book, Punkland, was by Carlton Mellick III, and what I'm trying to get to...
Apparently he's like the father of Bizarro.
Grandfather.
I was like, we need to hang out with these people.
But it's just really fun because like these authors that to me are just names on a book that I've gotten I really liked, I found out we're like, oh yeah, like we've known about them for decades. And so it's really interesting to the difference between like discovering something regardless of when it was made. Like, to me, John Langan and Laird Barron and Carlton Mellick III are brand new because I just found that. I'm like, oh, they're so good. But then going there and being like, there's a whole new generation, you know?
Yeah. It was also very surreal to just be walking down the hall and be like, oh my God, I just walked past Ellen Datlow. Oh my God, I just walked past Brian McAuley, who we read his Candy Cane Kills. And like,
CJ
oh my
Lead,
God,
I
was very excited. I saw CJ Lead. And just like walking by all these people that like in our little bubble are, it's really cool to be around. Like they're like our little mini celebrities, you know? And it was surreal in so many ways.
Yeah, it really brought it to life in a way that I don't normally think of books. Because for me, I don't know, I don't often. I'll read about some, like there's authors I love.
It's a solitary endeavor, reading and writing. So to go to a place and be surrounded by people who are doing and consuming the same things
in their solitary ways, but knowing it together. Yeah,
it's very cool. And we also came home with, I think it was a grand total of 38 books.
Oh, really?
And we had 2 small carry-on suitcases. Somehow we fit all the books. I was ready to throw away all of our toiletries and all of our clothes to get them home. Luckily, I was able to shove and elbow things enough to get it to fit. But we've got some fucking reading to do, man.
Yeah. Well, we each got a goodie bag with like 4 different books.
Yeah.
Each. I mean, there was like a StokerCon anthology that we both got.
Yeah.
And I think one other doubled up book. But besides that, it was different books. And then they would just have, tables with people's cards and stuff. But also just like you'd pass by and there'd be books on there. Like free books.
People would put their free ARCs on the table. And it was like, here, take them. And then, of course, there was also the dealer room where we talked to a lot of awesome publishers and authors and bought a bunch of books. There was a author signing where, I don't know, how many, do you think there's like 100 authors?
I don't know. That was intense.
It was a lot. Unfortunately, the setup wasn't the best. Otherwise, we definitely would have been throwing away clothes. It was a little cramped and too many people in a small space. So that was rough. But the rest of it was absolutely fabulous. So hopefully next year they'll just spread out the authors some more, because I wanted to talk to so many of them and just buy all the books, but I was overwhelmed. Too many people in one place.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun though. We had some people from the Oregon chapter of HWA there. Mm-hmm. So it was nice because it was a good balance of like meeting new people, and like everyone was so friendly to talk to because you knew you had, similar interests, but it's also good to have people who, know you more than meeting you that weekend. So it was a good balance.
And just learned a lot. Oh my God, my TBR. I haven't even looked at my notebook yet. And that was like a week ago, of like all the books that I wrote down. I'm like, I should check this out. I should check that out. And I'm like, holy macaroni. I just came home with 40 books. And I have this list on myself. Like, God damn it. There's not enough hours in the days, guys. We need more reading time, please. Someone figure out how to stop time so that we can read books. That's all I have to say about that.
What have you been reading?
Well, I recently finished a history book that my mom suggested to me called Stay Alive, Berlin, 1939 to 1945 by Ian Buruma. And this was loosely based on his father's experiences being a worker that was imported during World War II. But it was more of like he went around and like interviewed people who lived there during the time, who were, at this point very old, and just talked about what it was like to be in Berlin during that time period, which to me was absolutely fascinating. My grandmother lived there. She was born in 1929, and so she grew up in Berlin. So hearing some of her stories echoed was really fascinating. I guess I know she's not full of shit. Because, I'm like, oh, that sounds familiar. So that was a
or they're both full of shit.
Yeah, it's the national bullshit line. No, it was a good read. It's right up my other historical alley. I really like medievalism, and I really like studying the world wars. So that was a fun read. I read the Radium Girls, which my friend Nia brought up. She had read it a couple months ago and it intrigued me, and I read it and yikes, it's gross. People's jaws were just coming out. You'd be like, oh, what's that thing? And like pulling their jaws out, because these women were doing radium on like basically on watches, so they go in the dark, right? So when you're in the dark you could see what time it was, and they had this practice called lip pointing, where they would stick their paintbrush in their mouth to point their paintbrush, dip it in the radium, and then dip it and then draw it and then rinse it a little bit and put it in their mouth. So they were literally putting toxic waste into their mouth. You can imagine the body didn't like that very much. So it was the history of how that started, and then up and through regulation of it being like, oh, actually this is bad for you. Because they at one point they were like, yeah, it's good for you. And rich people were eating radium for a health tonic. It was just fucking insane. It really kind of freaks you out about government regulations. Like, you really have to fucking trust your government, or the world governments at this point. Now I guess it's a little more globalized, but you know, when Europe's like, well, we banned this chemical, and then the US is using it on our food, it's like, well, it kind of freaks you out. So if you're not into that kind of thing, don't read that book, because it'll fuck with your brain. I read this book, Knock Knock Open Wide, and then I read Demon Song by Kelsea, who is a local horror author. This book came out last year, and it's really good. I loved it. It's a novella, and it is... I don't know if it's I don't want to say it's an ode to, but it definitely takes influence from her appreciation of Phantom of the Opera, the play. She saw it as a kid, fell in love with it, and I viscerally understand that. Reading the book, I didn't know that. I didn't know that until the afterward when she talked about it. But I was like, man, there's a lot of things in this that remind me of the Phantom of the Opera. And lo and behold, she was like, oh, I saw it when I was a kid, and I absolutely loved it. And I'm like, oh, you and me both. So really good. I loved it. Highly recommend. That's about it. That's what I've read. Because it was like Stoker Con. What about you? Have you read anything?
Nope. Not really.
I saw you reading your Gilman book today.
Yeah. I mean, I read Knock Knock Open Wide. Yeah, I'm on the way to and from Stoker Con. And then, yeah, have been reading pieces from here and there, but no full books.
That's fair.
Yeah,
we can't all be overachievers.
Not with such an overachiever in the house. You can have all the limelight, baby.
I mean, it's not. Yeah, I can't not. I don't know. I just feel like I'd sit there and stare at the wall and be like, why am I wasting my time? I could be reading a book. Yeah. Not saying that's what you do by any means, but that's how my brain works. So I always have to have a book. Yeah,
well, overachiever, underachiever. I'm just balancing it out.
Who's the underachiever?
Me.
Oh, I thought you're balancing. Who are you balancing against?
You're the overachiever.
Oh, I see.
I only read 3 books this week.
I see. I thought you were being in like you were the middle of the underachiever.
No, I'm the underachiever.
I think our kid reads more books than I do. He just read a whole book in one sitting. Crazy.
Yeah, he's awesome.
All right, well...
We have one more book coming up.
I'm like getting really sad about that.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, we'll say that maybe we'll see over the summer. We saw you once over the summer last year.
To be honest, we didn't see anyone.
Well, you heard us.
This is an audio podcast.
You know what I'm saying. Just don't listen to my words. We got one more. We are reading for our very last episode of season 2, A Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay. That's coming out on June 30th. And this is a book I've wanted to read for a couple of years and that you just remembered you already read.
I was going to say me too, but I mean, technically...
You're going to read it and be like, oh, this part.
It's been over 10 years. I read it in 2015 when it first came out. So
that's like before you decided you're like a horror person. So that, right?
No.
You became a horror person.
What does that mean?
What I mean by that is you're like, let's do a horror podcast and I'll watch horror movies endlessly. Is 5 years ago.
I don't watch movies.
Dude, when you work.
No, I can't.
Oh, not anymore?
No.
Okay. Well, there was that period. Anyway.
If I have mindless work, sure, but I can't. When I'm editing, I'm editing. I'm not watching a movie and editing.
All right. I don't know. I remember you had months where you would just...
Don't call me out on my shit. I fucking read this book before you even knew who Paul Tremblay was, bitch.
All right, yeah, so there we go. Yeah, so one more book, Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay, and then we are breaking for the summer. We'll be back in September, maybe with an update or two over the summer. No promises. Would rather just have it be a surprise if it happens. We'll definitely
for both you and us.
Yes, yeah. We'll still be reading.
We have no idea what, though. That's part of our job now in the summer.
Figuring out season 3.
Yeah, what we're going to read, and we'll see. Hopefully we got some good ones coming up.
Whether or not they're good, we'll have good conversations about them.
We better.
All right. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you for our last episode.
Well, if you've made it this far, then we didn't scare you off. Thanks for listening to Dusk to Dawn, reading horror and weird fiction.
Please rate our podcast, and if you like, follow us on Instagram at Dusk to Dawn Podcast, which is also our Gmail address. Tell us what you liked or didn't like about the show, and let us know if you have any book suggestions. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.